Part of our commitment to putting Southeast Texas first means getting answers to your legal questions. On Wednesday evenings, we ask the judge, and today we're fortunate to be joined by Judge Courtney Arkeen from the 128th District Court. Judge, it's good to see you.
Great to see you too, Jordan. Thanks.
All right, we've got a question from a viewer who says, how can a judge take a baby from the mother and give to the father without letting the mother in the courtroom and with the father, judge, and her lawyer being there? She does not know why she had to wait in another room. The father had reportedly kidnapped the baby from the mother at a McDonald's on Washington Boulevard with his mother helping him. The judge said since he had him for 2 months, it was okay to let him keep him. So there's a lot to unpack here, Judge. I suppose we start with the question about who's allowed in a custody hearing in court.
Yes, there is a lot to this, Jordan. And I've done this long enough to know that there has to be a lot more to this story than we are being given, but I will work with what we have. We do have an open court system. Anyone is allowed to view the court proceedings, and I think they should. The only time that is changed is during like COVID, when we were socially distancing. If we didn't have the capacity to seat everyone, we would go to alternative methods like YouTube or Zoom, like we're doing now. But everyone deserves the right to be in there and be heard. Every litigant has the right to be heard. So in this case, it sounds like there's a lot more. Maybe there was a CPS investigation that had a safety plan in place where the mother could not be near the children or something like that. What I would say is they need to contact an attorney and ask for a rehearing or a new trial so that they can have their day in court.
All right. This next question is a workers' rights question. They say, my employer tells me to put 40 hours on my time card even though I work more. Other than documenting it and telling HR, what recourse do I have?
Well, every employer in the state of Texas is protected by state and federal law, which requires employers to pay them for their 40 hours plus overtime. That overtime is to be paid at a time and a half, either through money or through compensation time or comp time, time off. If they are not receiving that appropriate pay, then they need to contact the Texas Workforce Commission and file a claim. Now, that claim has to be made within 180 days of the date that those wages were earned.
Okay. This last question involves somebody who's upset with their lawyer. He says, quote, I hired an attorney to help me deal with several speeding tickets, but now he's ghosting me and I need help. What options do I have to compel him to do his job? Where can I go to complain?
Well, lawyers know that the number one complaint in grievances to the state bar is for not returning phone calls, but unfortunately it does happen sometimes. So the legal profession actually polices itself harder than a lot of other professions. And the way that we do that is you would contact the local bar association first. There are several hurdles that you go through to file a grievance. One of those could be the local bar association could have what's called a CAP committee. That's a client attorney assistance program where they try to resolve those disputes at the local county level. If that does not work, then you would file a grievance with the State Bar of Texas and go through a series of procedures and hearings at that level. But we do take it serious, and it's otherwise a very noble profession. But like in any job, there are a few bad apples.
Yeah, some things slip through. Judge, we have to leave it there. We thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
And if you have questions for the judge, go to 12newsnow.com/askthejudge.